The Southern African Tourism Services Association has been on a campaign to get South Africa off the UK's red list. Let's hear how it's been going. I'm joined now by the association's CEO, David Frost. David, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. It's great to speak to you and to see what progress we've made. We know that you, as the CEO of SATSA, have been waging a 5-month battle in trying to get us off that red list. You raised over 1.5 million rand to campaign and to lobby in the UK and to try and raise awareness of the impact that this red list has on so many industries in South Africa. What is that battle and those skirmishes? What have they entailed so far?
Well, we certainly hope we're coming to the end of it and looking forward to a positive outcome in the next week. But essentially, when we were put onto the red list in January, it was initially a shock, and one we were living, very much in the sort of thick of the sort of COVID battle. We just come out of an intense period over December, which wasn't great for our country, and indeed the UK wasn't in a sort of great position. But going into February and March, we were looking for South African voices speaking up on our behalf. In the UK, we knew that other competitor destinations were lobbying hard to get themselves off the red list, and there was just a deafening silence. And we, as the tourism industry, being at the sharp end of it, and as the inbound industry at the particularly sharp end of it, just thought, well, it's incumbent on us to do something. And we were fortunate enough to chance upon the Turner Consulting Group, who are essentially ex-SA Breweries corporate lobbying and strategy team that really were at Graham Mackay's side as he took SAB from a Joburg-based brewer to the number 2 brewing company in the world. And they came up with what we thought was a really tightly focused and sensible game plan, bearing in mind that one needs capacity and hand-holding. None of us know the ins and outs of the House of Commons and the House of Lords and just the whole way that one lobbies in the UK. So they were a sensible partner. We received a cost-effective proposal from them, which is the 1.5 million for a 5-month process, and we essentially had to raise the money. So Wesgro, the Western Cape Trade and Industry body, provided the initial funds. Addy Enthoven was very generous in his contribution. And then we had to raise R1 million through crowdfunding. And it really is a testimony to the resilience and also the vision of members of SATSA that they were willing to come to the party. The maximum contribution was 50,000 rand, and many companies stepped up to the plate. And
David, I'm going to jump in there, and it's absolutely heartening that companies got involved. But what's surprising is that they had to get involved in the first place. We know that International Relations Minister Naledi Pandor and President Cyril Ramaphosa have now entered into the fray, but it's a little bit late in the game. Why was there such a deafening silence from government for so long in a process that drastically impacted the lives of so many South Africans?
Well, look, it's, I think, a couple of factors, let me say. But I mean, I can't speak for government, and I'm not really here in a way to castigate or to really, be overly critical. I think it would be useful moving forward if we had a proper structured engagement with government as far as tourism is concerned. Tourism is the second biggest economic sector in our country, and we don't get the requisite support. And what we need is a whole of government approach, because tourism permeates all aspects of or various ministries outside tourism. Specifically, we're regulated by transport. Home affairs impacts on us, and in this case, DIRCO could have played a role. But I do think the fact that there was a shuffle, and our tourism minister was essentially dealing with the health portfolio, which is a lot bigger than tourism contributed. But it's this lack of a proper structured engagement that I think is something that we should look at moving forward, and that's one of the lessons, hopefully, that will be learned. But Minister Pandor, to her credit, did come in, towards the sort of end of our lobbying campaign. We also, very importantly, had support from Business Leadership South Africa. They wrote a very pointed letter to the UK Prime Minister, which was made public. And on the back of that, there was just an amazing sort of national incredulity around this. We also had our leading scientists come out to a person and unequivocally saying that, with all due respect, you need to look at the science, and the science is incredibly clear on this, and there's no reason why we should be languishing on this red list. In other countries where the science and the data was far more porous and less robust than us, these countries were taken off.
So where is the process now? And a lot of people are hopeful that within a week or two, we should see this whole situation resolving itself, that South Africa is taken off the red list. But how do we get to that? What still has to happen?
Well, at the moment, as we understand it, the ball is very much in Boris Johnson's court. There was a meeting of scientists last Monday. Our scientists met with their top scientists. From our point of view, we don't understand why that meeting was even necessary, because the science and the data is all there. It's actually, most of it is in the public domain. And you can imagine, there was one item on the agenda, which was beta variant. And honestly, we get into farcical you can sort of sit with a UK scientist and oh, you meant that data. Oh, so sorry. We'll have a look at that data. And quite frankly, if that was the problem, we should have come off at the end of that meeting. But it would appear that the UK, I think, have just made a major faux pas here. And it's been pointed out to them, and it was quite instructive that their Minister of Africa, Vicky Ford, is actually in the country on her first visit to Africa, has come straight to South Africa, I think, to try and repair what I think Minister Pandor has alluded to, and senior business leaders have alluded to, that this behavior by the UK is causing irreparable harm to the relationship between the two countries. So my take is, in order to save face, they won't do it immediately. They'll do it at the review, which we expect will take place on the 7th of October, and they'll take a number of other countries off at the same time as us. But it's at least we'll come off.
David, unfortunately, I do apologize. We have to leave it there. We have unfortunately run out of time, but good news there that hopefully within 5 days from now, we could see ourselves off that red list. David Frost is the CEO of SATSA.